Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, introducing you to my Max Payne 3 hardcore difficulty video walkthrough. This is chapter 3 and this is just another day at the office. So I've trimmed out all the running from the sniper and moving while injured while your screen's going all funky from those awesome effects, and I've got straight to the action, which is you in the middle of this like five-a-side football area, and you have a pistol against a bunch of guys. I think there's about 6 dudes in this room. And this is another one of those firefights that can go wrong really quickly purely because you don't have the best cover, and the enemies are so accurate and so damaging. It can be really challenging, but as soon as it's over, pick up the pain medicine and just explore as much as you can. I'm not going to be examining anything because I examined a ton of clues when I first went through. This is purely going to be to get through the game. I'll not be finding guns or anything. It's just how it is. And when you play through on this difficulty, feel free to have the golden guns on. They will help you a lot, because those golden guns make a difference, because the ammo clip is higher. I think they do maybe a little bit more damage or something like that. They're definitely a benefit, so you want to use them. But a couple of tips, like I've been mentioning on previous videos, on how to approach situations and you know, how to treat certain sections, because not everybody knows how to play these games. The first thing I would always say is be cautious. The amount of times I've been damaged heavily or wasted painkillers because I've rushed through a corner or I've walked into a room blindly and not expected there to be 4 guys ready for me who've all shot me, I can't even count on 2 hands. It happens all the time. And watch this for a shit spot. I don't know where the hell I am after the cutscene, so I just dive and hope for the best. And luckily enough, this shotgun has some wicked range, because Max Payne shotguns are fantastic shotguns. It does get me screwed a bit later on in this video, because I try and shoot and a bunch of debris blocks my shells and I get hit sloppily, but I like the shotguns. I wouldn't recommend using them, because out of all the weapons, they're probably the least accurate for obvious reasons. But just never ever approach any room, any corridor, never push forward carelessly, because you're going to turn a corner and someone's going to shoot you with a shotgun. It's just how it works. What you want to get into the habit of doing is tripping the enemy spawns by moving forward and then immediately moving back into cover or something along those lines. And don't get me wrong, guys, it's difficult to do on this game because Max moves around a little bit like a fridge. I don't mind it as much, it's just when you're in a spot of bother it can feel real bad. Real bad, in fact. When those kill cams happen, don't indulge yourself and waste all your ammo on the enemies, because it does waste the bullets in your gun, and on this difficulty, an empty gun will get you killed. This is not me trying to be a killjoy or anything. I'm just saying you've got to be as sensible as possible or you're going to get your ass kicked. It's just how it works. It really is. One of the reasons as well why it's hard to trip the spawns and get away successfully, or to get away at all. For instance, if you start in a room where you're in a bad spot, the mere act of getting to cover or getting to a better position can be very difficult, because you'll just get shocks. The enemies are so accurate, and Max Payne is so fucking slow. Like, you hold A to run, and you don't seem to move any faster. It just looks like the dude behind him with the camera just starts wiggling the camera as if to give the impression that you're moving faster when you actually aren't. And it's a little gay, and it makes some situations really hard. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple spots in this game that are absolutely terrible. One part that I'm not looking forward to is when you're in the office building, and as soon as you spawn, there's a bunch of commandos in front of you, and every single piece of cover in the room is destructible, so you're never safe. And you can imagine how awful that room's gonna fucking be. And then the very end section, which I'm not going to talk in specifics, but what you have to do is there is a bunch of guards in front of you, for instance, a bunch of enemies to shoot in front, and you have to kill them all to trigger the end of the game. And the enemies are about 2 yards from you. So you can imagine how fun that is when there's 20 dudes in front of you, all shooting you at the same time, and you only have 2 painkillers and no bullet time. It's a strange environment, and I looked all around the room to see if there were anywhere I could run to, but the instant I tried to move from cover, I immediately got killed. And it is a bit of a blessing that this game does restore the checkpoint pretty quick, but at the same time, when you get shot, those fucking panels are annoying. You'll grow to hate them if you play sloppily. But you'll notice there's been some jumps in videos. It's just getting rid of the cutscenes, because this is a very cutscene heavy game. You'll notice I'm carrying the MP5 at this moment in time, and this corner is interesting because I used the corner trick to kill a bunch of guys, But be warned, right now, if Passos in front of me stands up, I can kill him and I'll fail, because there's a mission in the past where you go to a cemetery where I did the exact same thing and I put a bullet straight through his brain. So be very careful whenever an ally's near you. And he actually gets me injured because I have to watch where he is before I can kill dudes. And a guy rushes from down here where I'm looking all the way around the corner and shoots me. And look at that. That's another thing that's changed. Like, did any of your guys see him before he shot me? Did he just appear there, or was he in cover all along and he didn't move and it made him hard to see? That's a kill shot right there. That's how much range the shotgun has. Goodness me, this game is challenging. But on the original Max Payne 1 and 2, they came out at a time where AI wasn't what it is today. So the enemies didn't take cover, the enemies didn't hide. It wasn't, you know, this simulated game of whack-a-mole. The enemies just stood behind things and then came out like that and generally stood shooting at you. That's what they did. And then they rushed you. That was it. There was none of this fucking peekaboo nonsense. And that's what... Oh, watch this guy. He always catches me. I always forget about him. And that goes back to the point I made earlier of never move around the environment, you know, lackadaisically. Always be aware that the next corridor could have somebody in it that could kill you. But that's what makes the shoot dodge so diminutized on this game and so much weaker than it was in the older games. Like, you jump out of cover on the old games, you knew where everybody was, and if you had a line of sight to them, you could kill them if you were good enough. And I played the original Max Payne's on the PC, so my aim was immaculate, and I could just go from target to target and just wreck some face. On this game, you'll jump out of cover, and 3 of the enemies will all be in cover, and there'll be one dude stood out, you'll shoot him as soon as you land, everybody comes out of cover and shoots you. It's frustrating if you're playing it like a Max Payne game should be played. And it's a detriment to the game. It's by no means a judgment against the game, because I do think this is a terrific game. And in a video where I don't have to dish out all the beginner's tips and how you should approach things, I'll probably tell you my thoughts on it, because it's just how I roll. This section here can be really awful. But as soon as you drop down, I like to stand behind those steps to the right, as opposed to going behind cover on the thing, because sometimes you can get hit when you're firing back, and if you just hide, the sniper generally takes them all. But after this cutscene here, there's going to be a ton of dudes that are going to rush you, and you need to go into cover in the piece of metal just behind you. So you'll notice I go into Devil Trigger, listen to me. I go into bullet time, and then I immediately start trying to clean these dudes up. But a problem you're going to find from this spot is those metal bars will stop bullets. You can shoot through the gaps, obviously, but the bars can get in the way. And to my left, there is a flank point that these enemies can use, but luckily enough on this encounter, they never did it. But on my first time through on hard, I was getting flanked really badly on this section, so you'll notice I keep looking down to my left just in case. But this is a dangerous technique here, because the closer the enemies get, the more damage they do, and the more likely you are to get shot. And that's the only problem on this game when you're using the cover technique of shooting people from cover and bobbing up and down. You're going to get hit. There's nothing you can do. The enemies are too accurate. I mean, look, what can I do differently than what I'm already doing? As soon as I'm out of cover, I try and get a couple shots off, I'm getting hit. And maybe I could do some jump diving and things, but if I mess up or I don't kill enough people, I'm dead. So I lose either way. So this kind of, you know, playing possum hiding is definitely the easiest way through. And once you've cleaned them all up, you can progress onwards to the next section. But after every gunfight, always run around, always try and get as much ammo in your guns as possible. You'll be surprised how much ammo you'll go through by the end of the game, especially when you start taking on the police, because the police are so heavily armoured, they literally take full clips to die. If you played Max Payne 1, it's reminiscent to the dudes in the balaclavas in the Acer building right at the end. They take it. They take it big time. But fingers crossed, you should be acclimatized to the way the game plays. And your aiming type is probably going to be interesting, because there's a lot of achievements linked to free aim. And if you don't know what free aim is literally, there is no aim assist at all. There is no lock-on. And you can choose between, I think, the soft targeting, hard targeting, and free aim. And at the start, you'll notice I chose free aim, because that's exactly what Max Payne 1 and 2 was, and it's what I'm used to. But I'll talk more about that in the next video, guys, so you take care now.